On this gripping episode of MythBusters, Adam and Jamie spin out
I can feel the breeze.
in a double bill about dangerous driving.
Freaking hell, that's hilarious.
First, is it true that some types of shoe
Seriously, stop laughing.
make you worse behind the wheel?
Whoa.
Then, Adam's bladder is under pressure
Can't even tell you how badly I have to pee right now.
as the guys test if being about to burst is as bad as being boozed up.
That was bad.
Meanwhile, Tori, Carrie, and Grant are stuck, tackling two tall tales about super adhesive.
This glue is incredible.
Can this superb glue really turn a room upside down?
We're like rock stars.
And then, in a full-on head-on crash,
That is a headache.
could this ultimate sticky stuff really stand in for a seat belt? Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage
I got the chicken.
and Jamie Heineman.
Ta-da!
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience. Together with Grant Imahara,
Save yourselves.
Carrie Byron,
That was awesome.
and Tori Belleci,
We're gonna die!
they don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. And first, buckle up, because the MythBusters are gonna hit the road.
We've got two stories to do today, both of them involving dangerous driving.
That sounds like fun. What's the first one?
I'll give you a hint.
How's that fit in?
Well, the myth is that there are certain types of shoe wear so poorly designed for driving that they actually make you into a dangerous driver.
You don't actually think I'm gonna wear those, do you?
In fact, I do. I thought you'd respond that way, but I got something that'll make you feel better.
What's that?
Our second story, which is that driving with an extremely full bladder is supposed to be just as bad as driving while drunk.
And how's that gonna make me feel better?
Because I'm gonna be the test subject.
Okay, that does actually make me feel better.
I thought it might.
So, it's a duo of driving myths. Could it really be possible that driving under the influence of a very full bladder is just as bad as driving when you're drunk? But first up, could it be true that certain types of footwear will turn you into a hazard on the highway?
Well, supposing you do actually manage to get me in a pair of those, how do you propose we test them?
Why don't we do it like this? We each wear a strange piece of footwear with our foot all the way down on the accelerator. Then we time how long it takes to get from the accelerator all the way to the brake. We pick the three worst shoes and test those on a closed course under extreme conditions.
That works.
So the guys will put their best foot forward with 6 shoe types that already look dodgy to drive in.
Flip-flops, high heels, wedges, platform shoes, elevator boots, and snow boots. We're gonna choose the 3 worst, the 3 that affect your driving the most, and we're gonna do that on small scale here in the shop by putting on each pair of shoes, getting in this car while it's stationary, and timing how long it takes us to move our foot from all the way down on the accelerator to all the way down on the brake.
The idea is that the more a shoe slows a driver's response time, the worse a driver that person will be.
All right,
So the guys rig for some reaction time tests.
cool.
Here's how it's going to work.
When that sign turns from green to red, a timer starts.
I will be sitting in the car with my foot on the accelerator pedal. The moment I see that timer start, my goal is, as fast as possible, to get my foot off the accelerator and onto the brake, which stops the timer.
And that's our reaction time.
Indeed. And the 3 pairs that cause the slowest reaction times will make it through to the real-world road test.
What's first?
Flip-flops. Why the flip-flops? Well, there's entire states where people wear these 24/7, like Florida and Hawaii. Who knows how dangerous it is to drive there?
As their name suggests, flip-flops are hardly precision footwear, which Adam discovers.
0.71.
To eliminate any little performance glitches, the guys will both test each pair of shoes.
0.55. The gentleman is fast.
Then average their results to sort the shoes in reaction time order.
High heels. They may hurt, but nothing makes my calves look better.
They've chosen footwear from every walk of life.
1.28.
Whether it's high-style heels
I think Production came up with this story just so they could see me in these shoes.
Extreme elevations,
I feel like I'm able to actually walk a lot faster in them.
It's probably an illusion.
I can feel the breeze.
even the Arctic Circle.
All right, bunny boots, ready when you are. Up. I got my foot stuck behind the brake.
And after a full day of testing,
0.51, nice.
the MythBusters have all the reaction time data
0.53, he's in the zone.
and embarrassing flashbacks
Those are fabulous.
they could ever need.
0.54.
What do we got?
Well, it's actually really close. The three worst ones were snow boots, high heels, and wedges. Those are the three we're going to be testing out on the road.
I'll be darned.
High heels, wedges, and bunny boots. The values that we got for these three was quite close to each other. But this was in a controlled test in the shop. Out in the field, when we're doing sophisticated driving maneuvers, the difference might be much greater. I would put my money on the bunny boots as giving us the most amount of trouble on the road.
Coming up, Carrie, Tori, and Grant have themselves a sticky situation.
Now, ever since we started testing duct tape myths and doing all things duct tape, all the fans want us to test another substance.
You mean super adhesive?
Exactly. They think it's so amazing that it can do all these crazy things.
All right, so like what?
Super adhesive seatbelt, and the old classic upside down room.
Dude, sounds like it could get messy.
Super adhesive is the perfect glue when you're hanging out for a quick fix. But can super adhesive really let you turn a room upside down? Or stick you safely to your seat if you have a car crash?
You know, these all sound great, but first, I'd like to know what we're up against.
Yeah, the fan side has some pretty outlandish claims. Before we dive in, I'd like to do some tests, see like how much mass can it carry.
All right, sounds good to me.
So before any myths are busted, it's a little super adhesive 101.
Super adhesive, or cyanoacrylate, works like a two-part epoxy. But instead of having the hardener in a separate tube, it's actually in the air around us in the form of hydroxide ions, which are basically a building block of water. Now what happens is when you squeeze the glue out of the tube, the hydroxide ions change the chemistry of the glue, forming long, very strong molecular chains, which harden immediately. And it's this chemistry that gives the super adhesive its strength.
With science on the menu, Tori muscles together a rig designed to see how strong the super adhesive really is.
So I built this oversized barbell that can take up to 1,000 pounds that we can lift with our forklift.
It's a heavy-duty rig, especially when you hear what it's up against.
All right, so this first test is just one drop, right?
One tiny little drop.
Somehow I thought it'd be a bigger drop.
Yeah.
Yep, it's just a single drop of glue. But will that be enough to raise the bar?
Now I know that super glue is strong, and these are near ideal surfaces, but we're only talking about one drop. My guess, 250, maybe 275 pounds.
To find out, they'll add weights to the bar until the glue gives up. The question is, how many pounds till it grounds?
All right, 100 pounds.
Yes, 100 pounds.
Looks like it holds.
It's so far so good. And 2 lifts later,
200 pounds, do it. Woo! No
Nice.
problem.
it could have Grant's prediction covered.
Okay, this is 300 pounds.
Nice. That is pretty surprising. One drop of glue, 300 pounds.
But the test ain't over
Got any more in you? You can do it.
until the drop drops off,
500 pounds.
which is taking longer than they thought.
No way! That's amazing.
Don't get too close, I swear it's gonna break any minute.
Another 100 makes it 600 pounds, and it still holds.
Yeah, it made it.
This really is the little drop that could.
650. Let's do it.
Zero.
Put
Do
it
it.
up.
Do it. I can't even
No
believe it.
problem.
I can't even
650.
believe it. How much further can it go?
I don't know. Let's see if we can go up to 1,000.
Oh my God. With only 1 drop of the cyanoacrylate, we were able to lift 650 pounds of barbell weights before the whole rig came crashing down to the ground. I think we're all really, really impressed with what it can do.
So then, if 650 pounds is the strength of 1 drop,
7 drops should be enough to lift the weight of your average American car, which is about 4,000 pounds or 2 tons. We're gonna see if that works.
This has got to be the nastiest car we have ever gotten for this show.
the car may be bottom of the barrel, but regard for the glue is sky high.
I have so much faith in this glue. I really do think this car is going to go up off the ground with only 7 drops. 6, 7.
All right, 7 drops of glue.
Carrie climbs into the hot seat, and it's go time.
All right, Carrie. Yes, holding. Yes, it's lifting it. Yeah, it worked. It's off the ground. No way. 7 drops is enough to lift a car. That is insane. Oh my God, we lifted a car with glue. Hey, it held us for a while at least. Wow.
I am so impressed with how little it takes to lift an entire car. Just 7 tiny drops.
This is amazing. We lifted a car with 7 drops of glue. Now, I knew this stuff was strong, but I didn't know it was this strong. But this is MythBusters. We're not gonna stop here. We have a whole bunch of tests just to find out how well this glue works.
Ain't that the truth? With upside-down rooms and seatbelt stand-ins, there's a lot more to come unstuck.
I never glued a bed to a roof before.
For some years, the headlines have had it in for high heels. But does fancy footwear really lead to dodgy driving? Well, in the shop, Adam and Jamie's health hazard heels were just that.
Ow!
But now it's time to see if they'll be a risk on the road.
So we got a closed course and a car with racing harnesses in it.
What could be a better day?
And they'll supercharge the testing with a stunt driving shoe showdown.
We brought out an old friend, Marv Ruff, who is an instructor at the Alameda County EVOC Training Center. So Marv is going to bring us back up to speed, and he may even teach us a few new tricks.
Yet, before they can begin their testing, the guys first need to hone their handling.
So what's first? We're going to try a reverse 180.
Awesome.
This is going to be fun.
Jamie and I are going to line up a bunch of complicated driving maneuvers.
Just remember, let the car do the work.
We're going to get really good at them.
A little more speed now. That was nice.
And then we're going to see if it's even remotely possible to do them in some fancy footwear. Whoa! That is so much fun.
And there's more fun to come because those silky stunt skills are going to be the basis for a fancy footwear test track.
Huh, that's the end of the straightaway.
And to say it's extreme is an understatement.
The first part of our course is accident avoidance. The moment that light changes, Jamie has to choose a lane. Accident avoidance means not hitting any cones. It also means not hitting any people. After accident avoidance comes the forward 180, which we've been practicing. He's gotten pretty good at it, too. He's got to nudge this pedestrian. Then he goes into a reverse 180. Like that. The reverse 180 leads naturally to a zigzag slalom, which requires very precise application of both the gas and the brake, something that might be very difficult with weird shoes. And the whole thing gets timed. It's to try and get the best possible time.
Yeah, but time trial is the ideal way to put the shoes through their paces. And first up is the control, the regular shoes benchmark.
Regular shoes control test in 3, 2, 1, go.
The course is working out great. To make it through quickly, you have to move your foot from pedal to pedal, back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth. It's working fine with the shoes that I've got on, but what it does with fancy footwear, we'll see.
All right, well, your first one was 122, second was 121. I think that's your benchmark.
Okay.
My turn.
3, 2, 1, go.
When Jamie and I set up this course, we were looking for something that would force us to drive at the very limit of our ability, and that's pretty much exactly what this thing does. If any kind of alternative shoe wear is going to inhibit my ability to drive at all, it's going to show up on this course.
How'd I do?
117.
117. I've been hitting that every time. I guess that's my benchmark.
That's pure fun right there.
They burn through their control laps in times that the hazardous heels might find hard to match.
Like that smell of burning rubber, don't you?
Not really.
Well, our controls are done, though.
Yep, it's time to move on to the other stuff.
To some fancy footwear.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Super Adhesive have set a really high standard.
It's off the ground! We lift the car with nothing but glue!
But could it fail at its first myth?
All right, so now that we've seen the power of super adhesive, what is our first myth?
All right, this myth comes from the 70s. Apparently, rock bands would go to hotels and pull these pranks. And one of the pranks was they would glue the furniture from the room on the ceiling.
Okay, the crazy part of this to me is not just the logistics, but the time restraint. They would have had to do it like overnight. We should not only glue our furniture up, but we should do it within a day.
All right, let's get to it.
Rock stars have a history of hotel room hijinks. But can you really turn a room upside down with super adhesive?
All right, we've built ourselves a room. We're gonna stage it just like a hotel. And then the fun begins. We're actually going to glue everything to the ceiling so that we can make an upside down room. Curious to see if this is actually gonna work.
So this is the room that we are gonna turn upside down. Now, it's built to code and it has everything you would find in a hotel room. We have a desk with a computer on it, we got a light stand, we got a bed with sheets. That ain't gonna be easy. We have a coffee table with a whole bunch of stuff on that. We have a couch. There's a plant, there's a television.
Maybe some dirty laundry. I mean, this is one of our rooms.
Yeah.
Although none of these items weighs as much as a car, what's critical is the materials they're made from. These lumpy, absorbent surfaces are a super adhesive's kryptonite.
It would be difficult to get them to stick to the floor, let alone the ceiling, and we don't have that much time. But my guess, for the most difficult thing to get to stick to the ceiling, the bed.
With the checkout clock ticking, Tori needs to first stick the bed, not to the ceiling, but to itself.
So what I'm trying to do is get as much glue on the mattress as possible. But even then, I don't know how well it's gonna stick.
7 drops was enough to lift a car, but it's taken 7 bottles to stick the mattress to the base. But eventually, it's set for liftoff.
All right, so this tool is normally used to lift sheetrock up to the ceiling, but we're gonna be using it to lift furniture so we can glue it to the ceiling. I bet it was never intended for that.
It's a delicate balance
There's something you don't see every day.
between letting the glue harden
I never glued a bed to a roof before.
and staying on top of the clock.
Ah, this is stinky.
Get it wrong,
All right, let's see if the glue holds the bed up.
and this myth will come crashing down to earth.
Looks pretty solid so far. Hey! Hey! That is awesome.
It's holding.
That is one upside-down bed with a cherry on top.
Sweet.
But there's no let-up because the couch is next to go. And thanks to its nice flat feet,
I think we may have pulled it off.
the glue is now 2 for 2.
All right, go, go, go. This corner's holding.
It's a don't try this at home classic.
Nice. Next piece of furniture.
So you look at the TV and you think, no problem. It's got a huge flat base, probably got about 100 square inches of surface area to glue to, right? Wrong. This is gonna be a nightmare. See, underneath the TV, there's this whole waffle pattern. Couple that with the fact that this is an old school, heavy, tube-type TV, and you got a problem.
A problem that's going to swallow some serious time. But they can't afford to down tools. So up goes the coffee table.
Ah, my eyes are burning.
And 40 minutes later, the TV is set.
That helped.
But eventually, with all hands on deck, the glue triumphs again. Now, with no time to hang around, up goes the desk, complete with accessories.
Of course, there's a Viking helmet. We're talking about 70s rock bands.
And the shag carpet.
That's awesome.
Just as they're wondering what all the fuss was about,
My mother scratcher.
they get stuck.
Now, the potted plant is one of the lightest things in this challenge, but the soft wicker basket just doesn't want to stick. So, the plan is keep adding glue until it does.
How's that?
One bottle becomes two, two becomes three. But after an hour's work, they finally stick it to the plant. And there's still time for a few final flourishes.
Ta-da!
Before the result floors them.
This is so psychedelic.
Isn't this crazy?
Well, it looks like you can turn a room upside down with glue.
And I think this is confirmed.
Confirmed, but very, very strange.
Despite the far from ideal materials and surfaces, everything, without fail, got stuck up. And before checkout time.
And we had a lot of objects to glue to the ceiling. You'd think the hard ones would be like the couch or the bed because they're huge, but actually the plant was the hardest because of the wicker basket. It didn't have a flat surface for the glue to stick to. Now that all these things are glued to the ceiling, the real question is, how am I gonna get into bed?
We've been testing the myth that certain types of footwear can inhibit your driving to the point where they make it dangerous. We've done some controls, and we've selected the 3 types of footwear we consider most likely to cause that difficulty. And now it's time to put this story to the test. It's why we're wearing our driving shoes.
This is just wrong.
Seriously, this could be dangerous, so stop laughing. Seriously, stop laughing.
Yeah,
Shall we?
yeah.
All right.
These red heels were the 3rd slowest performers in the reaction time tests.
Oh, hey. Humans weren't meant to wear these things.
But when the rubber hits the road, how will these shoes affect Adam's 117 benchmark?
We've done some weird stuff on this show over the years, but being in a sports car, strapped in with a 4-point harness, wearing red high-heeled shoes, feels like the strangest thing we've ever done.
And if it feels strange,
I'm ready. Let's test these red shoes.
let's see how strange he drives.
Okay, red shoes in 3, 2, 1, go.
Unfortunately for Adam, there seems to be trouble from the very start.
Harder to get up to speed because I'm pointing my toes.
Because of the narrow toe
Whoa! Okay, that was different.
and the towering heel,
Into the reverse 180, ladies and gentlemen.
shifting from pedal to pedal seems harder.
Whoa, a little understeer there, eh?
But Adam and his stilettos do stay the distance.
Come on, baby. Let's get home. Daddy's got a new pair of shoes.
And he completes the lap. But how much have high heels hampered his handling?
How did I do?
I don't know, what do you think?
I feel like, if anything, I was a couple seconds slow.
Nope, you were right on the money, 117.
No way!
Yep.
Adam has matched his control time exactly. 1 minute 17.
Frickin' hell, that's hilarious.
In red 4-inch high heels.
Nothing like a good pair of driving shoes.
But will there be a spike
All right.
in Jamie's lap time?
You know, I might have a problem doing this if I was more insecure than I am. As it is, it's just another day on the job.
All right, high-heeled shoes driving test in 3, 2, 1, go.
Jamie tries his hardest to put the pedal to the metal.
I think I'm getting a sense as to where this story comes from. So far, so good. I mean, just look at these things. They look awkward. They feel awkward. They don't feel like they're efficient things to be able to drive a car with.
How do you think you did?
I don't know, about the same.
exactly the same. 1 minute, 21 seconds.
Well, there you go.
No difference again. Adam is mystified.
Think about it this way. If I invited you to the track for a day of driving, but I told you you had to wear 4-inch spike heels, you'd think I was a jerk. You'd think of that as a punishment. But we didn't find that there was any significant difference between these and my regular shoes.
Time to move it up a notch.
You ready with the wedges?
I'm totally ready, and I'm sparkly.
Go.
Now, in the shop tests, the wedges had a worse reaction time than the stilettos.
I felt my foot catch a little bit on the accelerator pedal there.
But on the track,
But I don't really feel like it's getting in my way.
for both Adam
118.
and Jamie,
1 minute, 22 seconds. Pretty much right on the money.
it's left them with one last pair, the worst case scenario shoes of all.
Let's do it.
Okay, snow boots. In 3, 2, 1, go.
In their shop tests, these bunny boots showed seriously dangerous tendencies.
I got my foot stuck behind the brake.
The early signs are promising.
Oh, wow, yeah. Oh, I might have lost some real time there.
But the stopwatch barely skips a beat.
119.
119, wow, just a little bit slower.
Not by much, though. I'd say that's also within an acceptable margin of error.
That's crazy.
And Jamie's snow boot time?
On the money, 121. Well, we've tried really hard to craft an experiment that would tease out any difference in types of footwear and their effect on your ability to drive. We built a course that required lots of precision driving maneuvers. And after all of this testing, we can't discern that there's any significant difference between any of these shoes and how they affect your ability to precisely drive.
None of the shoe styles we tried made any difference whatsoever in our timing.
No, and I think we've got a pretty good spectrum there, too. I gotta say, this one's busted.
Thoroughly busted.
Let's get out of here.
You do realize that this is what's going to stick with us throughout eternity?
In super adhesive heroics,
All right, go, go, go.
the glue is one up with one to play. Time to put the glue in the driver's seat.
Okay, super adhesive seatbelt. This is the idea that you can glue yourself to your car seat instead of using a seatbelt to survive a crash.
All right, we really want to give this a chance of working. Why don't we get a car with leather seats? That way we have a better bonding service.
Okay, so car with leather seats, we set up a towing system, we crash it into a wall at regular street speed. And we put one guy in a seat with a seatbelt and the other guy with super glue only and compare.
Sounds good?
Sounds real good.
Anyone who doesn't use a seatbelt should get their head examined. But if your seatbelt's not working, the fan site suggests that super adhesive can secure you to your seat and even save your life. To peel the sticky facts from fiction, it's off to the runway.
Okay, this is just nuts.
But we're going to crash from cars, so that's going to be cool.
With cars to be crashed, the guys roll out a classic MythBusters tow system,
There we go.
complete with concrete K-rails
I can't believe they continue to rent these to us.
and a car with the right stuff.
So for a super adhesive seatbelt myth, we've got the perfect car. It's got leather seats to give us the best chance of adhesion. We're gonna have two passengers. One is gonna be super glued onto the seat. The one in the other side is gonna have no super glue at all. That's our control, so we can compare the damage.
The glue-free control job goes to Buster.
Buster loves me. I've sewn them together so many times. Oh,
Strapped under a standard seatbelt, he's a little put out
Deal with it, Buster.
because taking on the danger of the super adhesive hot seat will be a brand new MythBuster.
I'd like to introduce you to Buster 4.0. He is a calibrated test instrument, or better known as a crash test dummy. The way we're gonna break him in, well, it's pretty fitting, a car crash. You're gonna have fun.
No Buster has had an easy debut.
I know Kung Fu.
But our regulation crash test should be a walk in the park.
We gotta break you in somehow.
To secure him in the super adhesive hot seat, the guys stick both his jumpsuit and his rubber skin to the leather interior.
We don't recommend you do this at home.
This belt and braces approach will give Buster 4.0 the best chance of success in a 35-mile-an-hour head-on crash.
At that moment, he's going to be experiencing 100 G's, or 100 times his own body weight. So this guy is going to go from 160 pounds to 16,000 pounds in an instant.
Can Buster, the seat, and the glue hang on?
Each drop is over 600 pounds of force. I just don't think that's going to be enough.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
All right, let's see how strong this glue really is.
In the tow car, Grant hits the gas. The pulleys spin up towards the target speed.
20, 25.
Looking good.
And Buster 4.0 hopes he'll stick it out.
Ow!
Looks like he came right out of his seat and smashed into the windshield with his head.
That is a headache.
That is not a good seatbelt. Well, that's one way to break in a new crash test dummy, but you know what? The glue didn't hold at all. His head smashed right through the windshield.
Except for the super adhesive seatbelt, the test worked perfectly.
So we got our car with the two Busters up to 35 miles an hour, and he crashed straight into the K-rail. And no big surprise, the glue did not hold him in his seat. Now the Buster with the seatbelt stayed in his seat, had no damage whatsoever.
Yep, seatbelt Buster is alive and kicking. But his stuck-up buddy is down for the count. So what's gone wrong?
Looks like the material didn't really stick to the seat, but it's not the glue's fault. The glue actually held.
Yeah, I think we should try this again, and maybe we cover the seat with something that's a little stronger and put him in a material that's actually going to bond to it.
Incredibly, it was the material that gave way on the seat and the clothes. So for Crash Test 2, Tori's replacing their new car's regular seat, while Carrie and Grant work on Buster.
So in addition to replacing our leather seat, we're also doing away with the jumpsuit and replacing it with this rubberized wetsuit. Why, you ask? That makes his butt look really good. To get the best possible bonding surface for our glue.
And that rubber suit will be sticking to a glue-friendly fiberglass racing seat.
This way, when we glue Buster in, we are gluing rubber against fiberglass. That's two non-porous materials, so hopefully he will actually stay in the seat this time we crash the car.
In addition, the body-hugging contours on the racing seat mean there's more surface area to stick to Buster.
Ah, yeah, there you go. That's a good fit.
But it's still a huge ask.
With the kind of forces we're talking about in a car crash, I don't think there's any chance that super adhesive seatbelt's gonna work. But who doesn't love a car crash? Let's do it.
All right, this is test 2. Rubberized suit and hard plastic seat. In 3, 2, 1, go.
10, 15,
Go, Grant.
Looking good.
20, 30 miles an hour.
Here we go.
And
Oh! It looks like he just got ripped right out of that seat. Well, it's pretty obvious it didn't hold.
yeah, I'm pretty comfortable at this point saying super adhesive seatbelt, totally busted.
Once again, Buster 4.0 had a wild ride as he failed to survive the crash. But once again, the failure wasn't because the glue was too weak.
We picked the best possible clothing, a rubberized garment to bond to the glue. And you know what? It's not the glue's fault. The glue held, it's the garment that ripped. In fact, every piece of clothing that we've tried has ripped.
Which means that to put the super in super adhesive, the guys will have to take this myth to the max. Fancy footwear may be done and busted.
On the money, 121.
But Adam and Jamie are only halfway through their dangerous driving double act.
It's just another day on the job.
Next is something altogether more serious.
So driving drunk versus driving with a full bladder seems like a pretty straightforward set of tests to me. Let's do this one in a regular driving test style course. You know, maneuvering, parallel parking, etc. Do it once with a full bladder, once at the legal limit.
You know, we should be careful. We don't want to rupture your bladder. So what say we get a medical professional in to supervise?
Let's get to driving.
The dangers of driving while drunk are well-established facts. But a recent study has suggested that an overfull bladder can make driving more hazardous than being intoxicated. Is it possible that being desperate to pee makes you drive as badly as being over the limit? Well, to find out, it's back to the asphalt heaven, Alameda.
It is a perfect day for driving.
Even if doing it dangerously.
Especially.
This time it's out with the stunt driving and in with something altogether more traditional, a standard driver instruction course with a few well-chosen distractions.
Well, you know, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Allow me to show you our course. It begins and it ends right here with a 1 mile long, very tight straightaway. This will test my powers of concentration and endurance, both with a full bladder and under the influence of alcohol.
So the next part of the course is a very narrow, snaky little curve, followed by
the roundabout. I will enter it over here and make 3 complete circuits of it before exiting towards
the slalom. First he goes through it forward, then he has to go out of it in reverse and move on to
that very straightforward yet most difficult part of the driving test, the parallel park. This is the penultimate maneuver before
the final test, which is where Adam will have to respond to a random change of these traffic lights that'll tell him which lane he has to swerve into at speed.
They'll judge Adam's driving on how he performs each maneuver, as well as on his speed.
Adam can't exceed 20 miles an hour going down the straightaway. When he's doing the obstacle course, he can't exceed 25 miles an hour, and he can't hit any cones or any pedestrians.
Sober and with an empty bladder, Adam peels off 3 practice laps to get to grips with the course.
And the course itself is not simple. I mean, I'm able to drive it in an unaltered state just fine, but it takes all of my skill and all of my concentration. If a full bladder or alcohol severely impede that, which I believe they will, then we're gonna notice it on the course.
And by starting with the full bladder test, Adam can enjoy his hangover once the testing is well and truly over.
What's with the urgency room tent? Well, this experiment about me getting a full bladder is not as simple as me just drinking a ton of water, having to pee, and then driving. The fact is, you can actually drink too much water and create a potentially dangerous situation. That's why this whole experiment is going to be monitored by a doctor, a urologist, in fact, Dr. Shu here. He is going to ultrasound my bladder to make sure my bladder is properly full and yet I don't die, which is, you know, good. And get this, I already have to pee a little bit, so we're like ahead of the game.
Your bladder actually has 174 cc's in there. Average bladder capacity is about 350 to 400, so you're about halfway full right now.
What you're saying then is I should probably drink like 180 cc's of water right now.
More like 300.
300?
You'll be fine.
Okay.
It can take up to an hour before a drink trickles into the bladder.
Here we go. 300 milliliters down the hatch.
But a drink this size, and Adam's bladder already half full, in just 20 minutes, he's feeling the pressure.
How you doing?
I definitely really have to go, but I think I should wait just a little longer.
Another 10 minutes, and Adam thinks he's full to the brim.
Whew. Yeah, I feel a lot of pressure.
However, the ultrasound identifies room for even further expansion.
Okay, I'm gonna drink a little more water.
100 mils, and 5 minutes later, Adam really is myth-busting.
I really, really, really need to go.
But before he goes,
I'm ready for the full bladder test.
Jamie wants to outline the scoring system in excruciatingly slow detail.
The way we're going to score this test is Adam starts out with 100 points, and every time he does something wrong, we subtract some points. Now, each cone is worth 5 points.
Oh my God, I can't even tell you how badly I have to pee right now.
Every time that he screws up a test, that's 20 points. And every mile per hour over the speed limit he goes, that's 5 points.
Let's do it!
Pedestrians that he could hit, well, let's just say that's a lot of points. We'll worry about that when we get there.
Bladder control test in 3.
Oh, he is such a
2.
man. I'm gonna get even.
1.
Two crash tests have proved it. Super adhesive is no seatbelt. Not yet.
So far, we've been having no luck with our super adhesive seatbelt myth. The failures have either been in the clothing that the dummies are wearing or in the seats themselves. but what we need to do is focus on the strength of the bond of the glue. And we're gonna do that by giving the glue an ideal bonding surface, 2 steel plates. One's gonna go on our dummy's back, and the other is going to go on a special new metal seat that I'll be installing into the vehicle.
By taking the fabrics out of the equation, the guys are putting the glue, and the glue alone, to the ultimate crash test.
May not be the most comfortable seat, but if it works, Buster's gonna be glad he has it.
We're back at the runway and we're all set up for another crash because we want to find out if just the bond from super adhesive can withstand the forces of a car crash.
This time there'll be no clothes ripping, there'll be no seat tearing. We're not fooling around. We've got 2 identical super flat steel plates. This one is welded onto Buster's frame and the other is welded into the car.
And those 2 are stuck together with, yep, you guessed it. But will the super adhesive finally keep Buster in the hot seat?
You know what? I'm gonna put my money on this. I think it's going to stop him from flying through the windshield.
Grant's confident, but it's worth pointing out that the K-rail isn't any softer, and 35 miles an hour isn't any slower.
All right, for a final experiment, we have the same circumstances as before.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, toe looks good.
We have one Buster just seat belted into the passenger side, and then we have our main Buster with 2 metal plates, super adhesive glued together, sitting in the driver's seat.
Straight headed towards the K-rail.
You know, that might have worked.
It might have worked. Well, what do you think? The plate's still connected.
It actually withstood the crash. That's incredible.
That's quite a super adhesive glue.
This is incredible. He actually held on. The glue was strong enough to withstand this shock. I'm impressed.
So am I. The super adhesive has stuck fast, and during an impact, imparting 16,000 pounds of force.
Now, in theory, the super adhesive should have more than enough holding power to withstand the forces involved in a car crash. And it turns out it does. But this myth is still busted. Because unless you have a steel skeleton with a 12-inch square steel plate welded to your back and an identical 12-inch square steel plate welded to a steel immovable chair in your car, it's not going to work for you. Please use a seatbelt.
Well, we're not going home in that car.
Nope.
At the other end of the runway, Adam couldn't be more ready to test his bladder-impaired concentration.
Bladder control test in 3, 2,
Man, I'm gonna get even.
1. Go.
The first challenge is the mile-long straightaway, with a speed limit set at 20 miles an hour.
Oh, oh, it's taking so long.
And it's clear that Adam's feeling the pressure.
Ow! Oh, man, I can feel that right turn. Oh!
Next up is 3 turns of the roundabout.
Okay, here we go.
He only did 2. He's supposed to do 3.
With his bladder becoming fuller by the minute.
Oh, man, this hurts. This is killing me.
Oh, there's a cone.
Adam's concentration is slipping.
Oh, this is awful. Parallel parking. I wish I was parking so I could pee, but I can't. Oh!
While he grimaces through accident avoidance,
Oh! Yes!
Okay.
it's the long, slow mile home.
Urination is only minutes away.
Lined with Jamie's deliberately distracting portable toilets.
Oh!
That's the hardest of all. But at last he's finished.
How did I do?
Can I make a pee?
Well, first you got to do a piece to camera, I think. Or...
No.
No?
Yeah,
Camera.
I'll see you in a minute, okay?
Adam is relieved.
Oh.
But a full bladder absolutely dented his concentration behind the wheel.
I believe I hit a couple of cones, and I'm not positive about this, but I might have even forgotten part of the test. Honestly, I was in physical pain. That seriously compromises your ability to concentrate, and that's one thing about our course. It requires you to concentrate. That was a lot. Oh my God. That was so uncomfortable.
As for his score, well, that comes later.
We're making a point of not telling Adam how he did on the full bladder test so it doesn't skew how he does when he's intoxicated.
All right, fun's over.
Remember, Adam's full bladder driving will be tested against the benchmark for driving impairment, alcohol.
Legally, we can't actually have anybody driving while fully intoxicated. What we can do, however, is bring Adam right up to the limit, just under it, and have him drive then with the supervision of law enforcement here. And they're going to be using a breathalyzer on him. We'll know exactly where he's at and make sure that we don't actually break the law.
With California law allowing a .08 alcohol reading,
Almost there.
Adam's ripe.
0.75. I think that is actually our butter zone. I have never driven anything as altered as I am now. I can't believe the legal limit is honestly as high as it purportedly is.
And to be on the safe side, the police tag along.
Okay, Adam, are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
3, 2, 1, go.
But in the first slow straightaway, the officer might be reconsidering.
So it's gonna be a dog leg left turn. Ooh, I hit a cone, wow. Okay, here we come up to the first dog leg.
Because like the bladder test,
I hit a cone.
it's clear that Adam's driving is impaired.
Left turn and into 3 loop-de-loops. Did I hit another cone? There's 2.
But how does his almost illegally boozed up brain
That was bad. Fortunate.
compare to the tolerated distraction
Now it's accident avoidance. Here we go.
of a busting bladder?
He made that one all right, but just barely.
Now back home again.
Well, once Adam's done, it's almost time to find out.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Adam.
How did I do on that one?
Not so good.
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I kept on talking and losing focus.
I'm not surprised.
I have to see what Jamie's numbers say for the final analysis, and I'm not necessarily in a position to make a judgment, but I have to tell you, I was far less capable of driving intoxicated than when I had a full bladder. I mean, I was in pain with a full bladder, but intoxicated, I just didn't have the ability to focus on several things at once.
And with a possible 100 points per test, the results are...
Driving with a full bladder gave you a score of 70 points.
Oh, that's not bad.
Driving while intoxicated gave you 25 points.
Whoa! So the myth that driving with a full bladder is just as bad as driving while intoxicated is?
Busted.
Great. Let's get out of here.
I'm driving.
Okay, good. I'm happy about that.
Yep, the numbers don't lie. Driving drunk is far worse. But full bladder driving is a serious road risk. So here's the news. If you need to pee, pull over.
I thought you said you were driving! I am.